Good morning. Today I'm going to share a little bit with you about ARPF's, the first pillar of the ARPF 4 pillars to Alzheimer's prevention. And the first pillar is diet and supplements. So I'm going to share a little bit about why that's the first pillar and why diet and supplements are such a key component when we think about brain longevity and brain health. So the ARPF 4 pillars of Alzheimer's prevention. Our first one, diet and supplements. Why is that important? Why do I want to start with that? That's important because all of the nutrition that our body and all of the energy that our brain derives comes from what we nourish it with, especially the food that we nourish it with. And if you think about it, we have at least typically for most, for the average adult, we have at least 3 meals a day with the occasional snack, right? So that's 3 intervention points during your day where you get to either add health to your body or add some substances that won't necessarily promote optimal health. And so I find that this can be a really, really important place to start and a really positive place to start, because as soon as you start to make these changes in the food that you give your body and the supplements that you give your body, you start to feel the benefits, and your brain doesn't wait to get these benefits. As soon as you start to eat healthy, nutritious foods and provide the supplements that your brain needs to function, it's gonna feel better and it's gonna start to do that. Because our brain wants to function as well as it can, and our body wants to heal itself. It wants to be strong, and it wants to, be able to function as well as it can. So when we're able to provide it the support in the form of food, that can be such a powerful place to begin to regain health if we have lost it in any way or are not feeling our best. So, diet and supplements, the first pillar. This is because I just covered a bit of it. Our brain needs the nutrients that we get from food. So, our brain depends on those nutrients. In order for it to function, in order for the cells on a cellular level to have the energy that they need, we have to provide that in the form of nutrients and in the form of food. So, we have something called the brain longevity diet, which is a plant-based whole foods diet. And the reason we really encourage people to eat plant-based is because there's been a lot of research done, a lot of studies done, and this is really the healthiest option for many individuals and for our brain. Our brain and our body really responds best when we are eating a plant-based whole food rich diet, which is not at all in line with the typical standard American diet, also known as the SAD diet. So this can be a pretty big adjustment for people to learn about and to implement in their life. And it can take, it doesn't happen overnight. And I think that's totally normal and fine and great and wonderful. And it's in making these small steps to making maybe that full adjustment that allows us to turn it into a sustainable diet for us, so that we're not getting frustrated with, I have to eat something that's plant-based whole food today. I can't eat anything else. That's not what we're saying. Nutrition is important. We have to feed and fuel our bodies in order to do the things that we want to do. So I think that this approach to just learning about why plant-based whole foods is healthy can be really positive in helping us to make small changes that eventually turn into maybe a really big lifestyle change. That can be really positive for us. So why do we supplement if we are eating a diet that is plant-based and whole foods and, healthy and rich in nutrients? Because not all of our vitamins and minerals that we need for our brain can be obtained from our food. And that's for a number of reasons, particularly, if we are really plant-based, and you're someone that doesn't enjoy eating fish, you might be missing out on things like omega-3s, and that's really important for our brains. So instead of saying, you have to eat fish, some people don't like it. Totally okay. We can supplement, right? Because our brain needs those things. It needs healthy fats in the form of omega-3s. It needs vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K. All of these things are what make our brain the most powerful thing that we have, right? That's what our brain is. It's like this powerhouse of information and just so much awesome stuff that's just like waiting for us to provide it the nutrients that it needs so that it can help us live our best life, really. So at ARPF, one of the main tenets is that we can let food be thy medicine instead of letting medicine be thy medicine. There are so many great research studies out there that have been done and that are being done on potential medicine interventions for Alzheimer's, and what a lot of the research has shown is that the best treatment, the best medicine for Alzheimer's and preventing Alzheimer's is a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle. So using food as medicine, let food be thy medicine instead of letting medicine be thy medicine, is something that it's like we have to kind of rewire our thought process about it. About what we view medicine as, what we view food as. And I think understanding that food can be a source of healing for us, for our bodies, for our minds, more than just how we consume, but how we prepare our food. That can become a very meditative process, which has, meditation we know has so many benefits, which I won't get into on this because we're sticking with food and diet and supplements. But the diet piece, really, the nutrition piece, encompasses so much more than just the food that we're eating or the food that we're preparing. And so why do we want to eat healthy foods? Not just because, healthy food is better for us, but because plant-based whole foods, our body knows how to respond to that. From a genetic evolutionary level, we have evolved with plant-based whole foods. Our bodies have not evolved to process or respond to the overly processed chemical convenience store foods that a lot of us find ourselves relying on lately. And what these convenience store foods often do is they trigger the alarm bells. They're alarm foods. And they release things like adrenaline and cortisol. Those are two very important hormones that we do want our body to be producing, but not to the degree that it is constantly producing them and we're not able to find balance. So if we're not able to find balance and we're constantly pumping out these stress hormones, our body is not going to be able to rest and digest. It's not going to be able to recover and feel revitalized. So to avoid alarm foods and to avoid putting our body into oxidative stress, which is what can happen when we're not consuming enough antioxidants to neutralize the free radicals, we'll have a lot of inflammation. And one of the things that we also know now is that inflammation is the root of so many disease processes. Inflammation is really what can trigger the onset of disease, discomfort, just general fatigue, honestly. If your body's inflamed and your body's always trying to tamp that down to find a neutral again, it's gonna be pretty exhausting, right? So by focusing on eating foods that are really nourishing to us and nourishing to our brain and revitalizing to our brain, we're working with our body instead of against it. And by just working with our body, that allows us to create more energy and then have more energy to do the things that we really want to spend our time doing, like spending time with loved ones or being out in nature. And we have the energy to do that again because we're able to nourish our body in the way that it needs with the things that it needs. So I hope that you are excited to continue to learn more about brain health and the ways that we can support our brain and work to prevent the onset of Alzheimer's and dementia. And yeah, thank you so much.